Genesis 41. Joseph's rise to power. And it came to pass at the end of 2 full years that Pharaoh dreamed, and behold, he stood by the river. And behold, there came up out of the river 7 well-favored kine and fat-fleshed, and they fed in a meadow. And behold, 7 other kine came up after them out of the river, ill-favored and lean-fished, and stood by the other kine upon the brink of the river. And the ill-favored and lean-fished kine did eat up the 7 well-favored and fat kine. So Pharaoh awoke.
Then he fell asleep again and had a second dream. There were 7 heads of grain growing on one stalk, healthy and good. Then 7 heads of grain, thin and burned by the east wind, were sprouting up after them. The thin heads swallowed up the 7 healthy and full heads. Then Pharaoh woke up and realized it was a dream. In the morning he was troubled, so he called for all the diviner priests of Egypt and all its wise men. Pharaoh told them his dreams, but no one could interpret them for him. Then the chief cupbearer said to Pharaoh, "Today I recall my failures." Pharaoh was enraged with his servants, and he put me in prison, in the house of the captain of the guards, me and the chief baker. We each had a dream one night. Each of us had a dream with its own meaning. Now a young man, a Hebrew, a servant of the captain of the guards, was with us there. We told him our dreams, and he interpreted the meaning of each of our respective dreams for us. It happened just as he had said to us. Pharaoh restored me to my office, but he impaled the baker. Then Pharaoh summoned Joseph, so they brought him quickly out of the dungeon. He shaved himself, changed his clothes, and came before Pharaoh. Pharaoh said to Joseph, "I had a dream, and there is no one who can interpret it. But I have heard about you, that you can interpret dreams." Joseph replied to Pharaoh, "It is not within my power, but God will speak concerning the welfare of Pharaoh." Then Pharaoh said to Joseph, "In my dream I was standing by the edge of the Nile. Then 7 fat and fine-looking cows were coming up out of the Nile, and they grazed in the reed. Then 7 other cows came up after them. They were scrawny, very bad-looking, and lean. I had never seen such bad-looking cows as these in all the land of Egypt. The lean, bad-looking cows ate up the 7 fat cows. When they had eaten them, no one would have known that they had done so, for they were just as bad-looking as before." Then I woke up. I also saw in my dream 7 heads of grain growing on one stalk, full and good. Then 7 heads of grain, withered and thin and burned with the east wind, were sprouting up after them. The thin heads of grain swallowed up the 7 good heads of grain. So I told all this to the diviner priest, but no one could tell me its meaning. Then Joseph said to Pharaoh, "Both dreams of Pharaoh have the same meaning. God has revealed to Pharaoh what he is about to do. The 7 good cows represent 7 years, and the 7 good heads of grain represent 7 years. Both dreams have the same meaning. The 7 lean, bad-looking cows that came up after them represent 7 years, as do the 7 empty heads of grain burned with the east wind. They represent 7 years of famine. This is just what I told Pharaoh. God has shown Pharaoh what he is about to do. 7 years of great abundance are coming throughout the whole land of Egypt. And there shall arise after them 7 years of famine, and all the plenty shall be forgotten in the land of Egypt. And the famine shall consume the land, and the plenty shall not be known in the land by reason of that famine following. For it shall be very grievous. And for that the dream was doubled unto Pharaoh twice, it is because the thing is established by God, and God will shortly bring it to pass. Now therefore let Pharaoh look out a man discreet and wise, and set him over the land of Egypt.
Pharaoh should do this. He should appoint officials throughout the land to collect 1/5 of the produce of the land of Egypt during the 7 years of abundance. They should gather all the excess food during these good years that are coming by Pharaoh's authority. They should store up grain, so the cities will have food and they should preserve it. This food should be held in storage for the land in preparation for the 7 years of famine that will occur throughout the land of Egypt. In this way, the land will survive the famine. This advice made sense to Pharaoh and all his officials, so Pharaoh asked his officials, "Can we find a man like Joseph, one in whom the Spirit of God is present?" So Pharaoh said to Joseph, "Because God has enabled you to know all this, there is no one as wise and discerning as you are. You will oversee my household, and all my people will submit to your commands. Only I, the king, will be greater than you." See here, Pharaoh said to Joseph, "I place you in authority over all the land of Egypt." See here, Pharaoh said to Joseph, "I place you in authority over all the land of Egypt."
Then Pharaoh took his signet ring from his own hand and put it on Joseph's. He clothed him with fine linen clothes and put a gold chain around his neck. Pharaoh had him ride in the chariot used by his second in command. And they cried out before him, "Kneel down." So he placed him over all the land of Egypt. Pharaoh also said to Joseph, "I am Pharaoh, but without your permission no one will move his hand or his foot in all the land of Egypt."
Pharaoh gave Joseph
the names Zaphanath Paneah.
He also
gave him Asenah, daughter of Potiphar,
priest of all,
to be his wife.
So Joseph took charge of all the land of Egypt.
Now Joseph was 30 years old when he began serving
Pharaoh, king of Egypt. Joseph was commissioned by Pharaoh
and was in charge of all the land of Egypt. During the 7 years of abundance, the land produced large,
bountiful harvest.
Joseph collected all the excess food in the land of Egypt during the 7 years and stored it in the cities. In every city he put the food gathered from the fields around it.
Joseph stored up a vast amount of grain
like the sand of the sea, until he stopped measuring it because it was impossible to measure.
2 sons were born to Joseph
before the famine came. Asenah, daughter of Potiphar,
priest of On, was their mother.
Joseph named the firstborn Manasseh, saying, "Certainly God has made me forget all my trouble and all my father's house."
He named the second child Ephraim,
saying, "Certainly God has made me fruitful in the land of my suffering."
The 7 years of abundance
in the land of Egypt came to an end. And the 7 years of famine began. Just as Joseph had predicted, there was famine in all the other lands, but throughout the land of Egypt there was food. And when all the land of Egypt was famished, the people cried to Pharaoh for bread. And Pharaoh said unto all the Egyptians, "Go unto Joseph, what he said to you do." And the famine was over all the face of the earth. And Joseph opened all the storehouses and sold unto the Egyptians. And the famine waxed sore in the land of Egypt. And all countries came into Egypt to Joseph for to buy corn, because that the famine was so sore in all lands.
Genesis 42. Joseph's brothers in Egypt. When Jacob heard there was grain in Egypt, he said to his sons, Why are you looking at each other? He then said, look, I hear that there is grain in Egypt. Go down there and buy grain for us so that we may live and not die. So 10 of Joseph's brothers went down to buy grain from Egypt. But Jacob did not send Joseph's brother Benjamin with his brothers. For he said, what if some accident happens to him? So Israel's sons came to buy grain among the other travelers, for the famine was severe in the land of Canaan. Now Joseph was the ruler of the country, the one who sold grain to all the people of the country. Joseph's brothers came and bowed down before him with their faces to the ground. When Joseph saw his brothers, he recognized them, but he pretended to be a stranger to them and spoke to them harshly. He asked, where do you come from? They answered, from the land of Canaan to buy grain for food.
Joseph recognized his brothers, but they did not recognize him. Then Joseph remembered the dreams he had dreamed about.
And he said to them, you are spies. You have come to see if our land is vulnerable. But they exclaimed, no, my lord. Your servants have come to buy grain for food. We are all the sons of one man. We are honest men. Your servants are not spies. No, he insisted. But you have come to see if our land is vulnerable. They replied, your servants are from a family of 12 brothers. We are the sons of one man in the land of Canaan. The youngest is with our father at this time, and one is no longer alive. But Joseph told them, it is just as I said to you. You are spies, you will be tested in this way. As surely as Pharaoh lives, you will not depart from this place unless your youngest brother comes here. One of you must go and get your brother while the rest of you remain in prison. In this way your words may be tested to see if you are telling the truth. If not, then as surely as Pharaoh lives, you are spies. He imprisoned them all for 3 days. On the 3rd day, Joseph said to them, do as I say and you will live, for I fear God. If you are honest men, leave one of your brothers confined here in prison while the rest of you go and take grain back for your hungry families. But you must bring your youngest brother to me. Then your words will be verified and you will not die. They did as he said. They said to one another, surely we're being punished because of our brother, because we saw how distressed he was when he cried to us for mercy, but we refused to listen. That is why this distress has come on us. Reuben said to them, didn't I say to you, don't sin against the boy? But you wouldn't listen, so now we must pay for shedding his blood. Now they did not know that Joseph could understand them, for he was speaking through an interpreter. He turned away from them and wept when he turned around and spoke to them again. He had Simeon taken from them and tied up before their eyes. And Joseph gave orders to fill their bags with grain, to return each man's money to his sack, and to give them provisions for the journey. His orders were carried out, so they loaded their grain on their donkeys and left. When one of them opened his sack to get feed for his donkey at their resting place, he saw his money in the mouth of his sack. He said to his brothers, my money was returned. Here it is in my sack. They were dismayed. They turned trembling to one another and said, what in the world has God done to us? They returned to their father Jacob in the land of Canaan and told him all the things that had happened to them, saying, the man, the Lord of the land, spoke harshly to us and treated us as if we were spying on the land. But we said to him, we are honest men, we are not spies. We are from a family of 12 brothers. We are the sons of one father. One is no longer alive, and the youngest is with our father at this time in the land of Canaan. And the man, the Lord of the land, said to us, this is how I will find out
If you honest men,
leave one of your brothers with me, and take grain for your hungry households and go. But bring your youngest brother back to me, so I will know that
you are honest men and not spies.
and I will give your brother back to you, and you may move about freely in the land. When they were emptying their sacks, there was each man's bag of money in his sack. When they and their father saw the bags of money, they were afraid. Their father Jacob said to them, "You are making me childless. Joseph is gone, Simeon is gone, and now you want to take Benjamin. Everything is against me." And Reuben said to his father, "You may put my 2 sons to death if I do not bring him back to you. Put him in my care, and I will bring him back to you." But Jacob replied, "My son will not go down there with you, for his brother is dead and he alone is left. If an accident happens to him on the journey you have to make, then you will bring down my gray hair and sorrow to the grave."
Genesis 43. The second journey to Egypt, and the famine was sore in the land. And it came to pass, when they had eaten up the corn which they had brought out of Egypt, their father said unto them, Go again, buy us a little food. Judah said to him, The man solemnly warned us, He will not see my face unless your brother is with you. If you send our brother with us, we'll go down and buy food for you. But if you will not send him, we won't go down there, because the man said to us, You will not see my face unless your brother is with you.
Israel said, Why did you bring this trouble on me by telling the man you had one more brother? They replied, The man questioned us thoroughly about ourselves and our family, saying, Is your father still alive? Do you have another brother? So we answered him in this way, How could we possibly know that he would say, Bring your brother down? Then Judah said to his father Israel, Send the boy with me, and we will go immediately, and we will live and not die. We and you and our little ones, I myself pledge security for him. You may hold me liable if I do not bring him back to you and place him here before you. I will bear the blame before you all my life. But if we had not delayed, we could have traveled there and back twice by now.
Then their father Israel said to them, If it must be so, then do this. Take some of the best products of the land in your bags and take a gift down to the man, a little balm and a little honey, spices and myrrh, pistachios and almonds. Take double the money with you. You must take back the money that was returned in the mouths of your sacks. Perhaps it was an oversight. Take your brother too and go right away to the man. May the sovereign God grant you mercy before the man, so that he may release your other brother and Benjamin. As for me, if I lose my children, I lose them. And the men took that present, and they took double money in their hand and Benjamin, and rose up and went down to Egypt and stood before Joseph. And when Joseph saw Benjamin with them, he said to the ruler of his house, Bring these men home and slay and make ready, for these men shall dine with me at noon. And the man did as Joseph bade, and the man brought the men into Joseph's house. But the men were afraid when they were brought to Joseph's house. They said, "We are being brought in because of the money that was returned in our sacks last time. He wants to capture us, make us slaves, and take our donkeys." So they approached the man who in charge of Joseph's household and spoke to him at the entrance to the house. They said, "My lord, we did indeed come down the first time to buy food, but when we came to the place where we spent the night, we opened our sacks, and each of us found his money, the full amount, in the mouth of his sack. So we have returned it. We have brought additional money with us to buy food. We do not know who put the money in our sacks."
Everything is fine.
The man in charge of Joseph's household told them, "Don't be afraid. Your God and the God of your father has given you treasure in your sacks. I had your money." Then he brought Simeon out to them. The servant in charge brought the men into Joseph's house. He gave them water, and they washed their feet. Then he gave food to their donkeys. They got their gifts ready for Joseph's arrival at noon, for they had heard that they were to have a meal there. When Joseph came home, they presented him with the gifts they had brought inside, and they bowed down to the ground before him. He asked them how they were doing. Then he said, "Is your aging father well? The one you spoke about, is he still alive? Your servant, our father, is well." They replied, "He is still alive." They bowed down in humility. When Joseph looked up and saw his brother Benjamin, his mother's son, he said, "Is this your youngest brother whom you told me about?" Then he said, "May God be gracious to you, my son." Joseph hurried out, for he was overcome by affection for his brother and was at the point of tears. So he went to his room and wept there, and he washed his face and went out and refrained himself and said, "Set on bread." And they set on for him by himself, and for them by themselves, and for the Egyptians which did eat with him by themselves, because the Egyptians might not eat bread with the Hebrews, for that is an abomination unto the Egyptians. And they sat before him, the firstborn according to his birthright, and the youngest according to his youth. And the men marveled one at another, and he took and sent messes unto them from before him. But Benjamin's mess was 5 times so much as any of theirs, and they drank and were merry with him.
Genesis 44, the final test. And he commanded the steward of his house, saying, "Fill the men's sacks with food, as much as they can carry, and put every man's money in his sack's mouth, and put my cup, the silver cup, in the sack's mouth of the youngest, and his corn money." And he did according to the word that Joseph had spoken. When morning came, the men and their donkeys were sent off. They had not gone very far from the city when Joseph said to the servant who was over his household, "Pursue the men at once. When you overtake them, say to them, why have you repaid good with evil? Doesn't my master drink from this cup and use it for divination? You have done wrong." When the man overtook them, he spoke these words to them. They answered him, "Why does my Lord say such things? Far be it from your servants to do such a thing. The money that we found in the mouths of our sacks, we brought back to you from the land of Canaan. Why then would we steal silver or gold from your master's house? If one of us has it, he will die, and the rest of us will become my Lord's slaves." He replied, "You have suggested your own punishment. The one who has it will become my slave, but the rest of you will go free." So each man quickly lowered his sack to the ground and opened it. Then the man search he began with the oldest and finished with the youngest. The cup was found in Benjamin's sack. They all tore their clothes, and each man loaded his dome, and they returned to the city. So Judah and his brothers came back to Joseph's house. He was still there, and they threw themselves to the ground before him. Joseph said to them, "What did you think you were doing? Don't you know that a man like me can find out things like this by divination?" Judah replied, what can we say to my Lord? What can we speak? How can we clear ourselves? God has exposed the sinning of your servants. We are now my Lord's slaves. We are the one in whose possession the cup was found. But Joseph said, far be it from me to do this. The man in whose hand the cup was found will become my slave, but the rest of you may go back to your father in peace. Then Judah approached him and said, my Lord, please allow your servant to speak a word with you. Please do not get angry with your servant, for you are just like Pharaoh. My Lord asked his servants, do you have a father or a brother? We said to my Lord, we have an aged father, and there is a young boy who was born when our father was old. The boy's brother is dead. He is the only one of his mother's sons left, and his father loves him. Then you told your servants, bring him down to me so I can see him. We said to my Lord, the boy cannot leave his father. If he leaves his father will die. But you said to your servants, if your youngest brother does not come down with you, you will not see my face again. When we returned to your servant, my father, we told him the words of my Lord. Then our father said, go back and buy us a little food. But we replied, we cannot go down there. If our youngest brother is with us, then we will go, for we won't be permitted to see the man's face. If our youngest brother is not with us, then your servant, my father, said to us, you know that my wife gave me 2 sons. The first disappeared, and I said he has surely been torn to pieces. I have not seen him since. If you take this one from me too, when an accident happens to him, then you will bring down my gray hair and tragedy to the grave. Oh, so now when I return to your servant, my father, and the boy is not with us, his very life is bound up in his son's life. When he sees the boy is not with us, he will die, and your servants will bring down the gray hair of your servant, our father, in sorrow to the grave. Indeed, your servant pledged security for the boy with my father, saying, if I do not bring him back to you, then I will bear the blame before my father all my life. Now therefore I pray thee, let thy servant abide instead of the lad, a bondman of my Lord, and let the lad go up with his brethren. For how shall I go up to my father, and the lad be not with me? Lest peradventure I see the evil that shall come on my father.
Genesis 45. The reconciliation of the brothers. Then Joseph could not refrain himself before all them that stood by him, and he cried, "'Cause every man to go out from me, and there stood no man with him, while Joseph made himself known unto his brethren. And he wept aloud. The Egyptians in the house of Pharaoh heard Joseph said to his brothers, I am Joseph. Is my father still alive? His brothers could not answer him because they were dumbfounded before him. Joseph said to his brothers, come closer to me. So they came near. Then he said, I am Joseph, your brother, whom you sold into Egypt. Now do not be upset and do not be angry with yourselves because you sold me here, for God sent me ahead of you to preserve life. For these past 2 years there has been famine in the land, and for 5 more years there will be neither plowing nor harvesting. God sent me ahead of you to preserve you on the earth, and to save your lives by a great deliverance. So now it is not you who sent me here, but God. He has made me an advisor to Pharaoh, lord over all his household, and ruler over all the land of Egypt. Now go up to my father quickly and tell him, this is what your son Joseph says. God has made me lord of all Egypt. Come down to me. Do not delay. You will live in the land of Goshen, and you will be near me, you, your children, your grandchildren, your flocks, your herds, and everything you have. I will provide you with food there, because there will be 5 more years of famine. Otherwise you would become poor, you, your household, and everyone who belongs to you. You and my brother Benjamin can certainly see with your own eyes that I really am the one who speaks to you. So tell my father about all my honor in Egypt and about everything you have seen, but bring my father down here quickly." And he fell upon his brother Benjamin's neck and wept, and Benjamin wept upon his neck. Moreover, he kissed all his brethren and wept upon them. And after that his brethren talked with him. Now it was reported in the household of Pharaoh, "Joseph's brothers have arrived." It pleased Pharaoh and his servants. Pharaoh said to Joseph, "Say to your brothers, do this. Load your animals and go to the land of Canaan. Get your father and your households and come to me. Then I will give you the best land in Egypt, and you will eat the best of the land." You are also commanded to say, "Do this. Take for yourselves wagons from the land of Egypt for your little ones and for your wives. Bring your father and come. Don't worry about your belongings, for the best of all the land of Egypt will be yours." So the sons of Israel did as he said. Joseph gave them wagons as Pharaoh had instructed, and he gave them provisions for the journey. He gave sets of clothes to each one of them. But to Benjamin he gave 300 pieces of silver and 5 sets of clothes. To his father he sent the following: 10 donkeys loaded with the best products of Egypt, and 10 female donkeys loaded with grain, food, and provisions for his father's journey. Then he sent his brothers on their way, and they left. He said to them, "As you travel, don't be overcome with fear." So they went up from Egypt and came to their father Jacob in the land of Canaan. They told him, "Joseph is still alive, and he is ruler over all the land of Egypt." Jacob was stunned, for he did not believe him, and they told him all the words of Joseph which he had said unto them. And when he saw the wagons which Joseph had sent to carry him, the spirit of Jacob their father revived. And Israel said, "It is enough. Joseph, my son, is yet alive. I will go and see him before I die."